Okay, so I am here with my friend Brittany. I'm really excited to have you back. She was one of my first episodes on the podcast, and today is a little bit more unscripted because I think we both were very busy today. And
Yes. Our brains are just beep, beep, beep.
yeah, we're in 1,000 different places. So we're going to talk about a few things today, like how we stay connected with colleagues and people when we work mostly remote. And I also want to, and I didn't talk to you about this, but I also want to talk about all the things that you're able to do now that you work for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I know. I was looking back at when did that episode come out? Like October, maybe?
Last
Last year?
year,
No, there's
last
no
year
way.
around November.
Okay. Wow. Life has changed for
Hmm.
both of us.
Yeah. So I'll let you pick where you start. If you want to talk about all the things that you've been able to try and accomplish and kind of dip your toes in since going out on your own, or if you want to start with how you stay connected. Either way, we're going to talk about both of them today.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll give a little update because I feel like, yeah, since November of last year, I'm trying to think. Wow. So since then, I actually wrote my first book, and that was something I don't think I would have ever had the capacity to think I had time for,
Hmm.
or I don't know. I just feel like going out on my own gave me this confidence that I didn't know I was needing or expecting. And I didn't know I was going to say that just now. But yeah, I think that was kind of a huge shift for me being on my own, realizing that yes, I can do this. I can manage my own business gave me this inspiration to see what else I could do. So I wrote my first book. That's given me a lot of freedom. I feel like I have had a lot of freedom to explore social media and kind of build my platform there, which has been really rewarding. I think a lot of times people think social media is really like, I don't know, it could be hard on your mental health. And that's true. I think you have to be careful what you consume. But for me, it's been really rewarding. Like, I feel like I've been meeting so many awesome people, especially local here in St. Louis. That has been great. So that's kind of what I've been able to accomplish going off on my own. Also, with the book, I've been doing book events. So, like, even this morning, I went to like a local play place and did a big sibling workshop and kind of got to work with a play therapist and just help parents. So, I've been able to explore creative outlets that I didn't know were possible and that could be lucrative. Like, even though it's not a traditional way of earning a paycheck, it's been really cool to get to explore those different revenue streams.
What social media platforms are you frequenting if people wanted to find you?
Yeah, so I will say Instagram is the number one for me right now. So Instagram is Little Moose Speech Therapy, and I'm on TikTok. I really want to explore it and expand more, but it's such an interesting world because TikTok and Instagram are just very different. Like, I can't just post the same things on each platform. They have different audiences and different things that they want to see. I'll say right now Instagram, and then if you're Facebook, I post the same stuff on Facebook, but I just love Instagram. I've always been an Instagram girly, and I think that it's just a really fun platform to get to use. So definitely find me on there. I ramble just like I'm rambling today on there. So if you like that, there's more to come.
It's been very fun to watch you on Instagram. You have a gift. It is fun to watch.
I'm exploring this, like, I don't know, even today I just filmed a couple of reels and I'm just getting sillier, which I have always been, but I felt like I had to be perfectly curated to represent my business. I'm like, this is my business. I can make it what I want it to be. And I'm still a professional, still, especially in my therapy and how I interact with parents, but I can still be silly because that's what people like to see. And there's so much information that I think parents need to hear about communication development. And if the way they consume that best is through silliness, I'm happy to put on that face because I like it.
So this is fun for me because we briefly talked about what we would talk about today, but
Hmm.
we didn't write anything down really.
Classic
So
us.
I'm kind of rolling on the vibes here.
I love it.
I want to talk a little bit about what doors have opened for you through social media. So, specifically, you're running a business, you're posting reels and posts on Instagram, you're being silly with it. How do you see this open up opportunities for you for your business? Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? Because I do think that sometimes people see social media influencers in the field of
Hmm.
speech, and it can go one of two ways. It can
Hmm.
go really positively or it could go really negatively. And I see that on some of the forums, people talking about it.
Hmm.
How has it opened up avenues for your business?
So it really has. there's multi it's like what's the word, multifaceted, because
Mhm.
it's not just one thing. And I think when I first started, especially when I would talk to my husband, and social media can be it's as time consuming as you want it to be. And so for me, I would be making these videos and doing like putting in all of this effort, and my husband would be like, is this like doing anything? And it was because he's not a social media person at all. So
Neither is my
he
husband.
Yes, to him, he was like, "What? I'm happy for you, but is this as lucrative as doing, teletherapy contracting and all of that?" And it has a learning curve. Like you have to kind of build that foundation and that platform and get, your audience and your loyal followers, because then from that, I feel like in this last year, it's been about like a year and a month of building social media, that it shows potential new clients who I am, and it gives you some credibility. So I have had clients, I've definitely had direct therapy clients reach out that have found me on social media, but I've had so many more parent consultations reach out to me that way. And that is an area of my practice that I want to build more. It's because parents can find me and they see me on my stories giving real time advice that I would give in a parent consultation. So that's been great. I think that's been really wonderful. I've had a couple contractors reach out as well, like asking if I'm hiring whenever I talk about contracting. And then, like, ever so slowly, I've been building up like affiliate partnerships and quote unquote brand deals. And I think you have to kind of be open to what works for you. So, like for me, I'm getting free children's books sent to me. I'm getting like different products and things sent to me that, like, it isn't, a 4-figure brand deal yet, but it is things that I want. Like, I'm getting, by offering them a video, I'm getting a product that benefits me. I'm getting discounts on different like services for my kids and like programs and things. So it took a little bit of time, but it's been so cool to see. And I feel so like I get so excited every time like a brand reaches out or somebody reaches out and they're like, I want to send you this free book. And I will never say no to a free book. I will shout every book from the rooftops as long as I think it's, I think most books are good, but I always screen them first. And I just did not expect social media to kind of give me these different avenues, because it did. It builds my private clients, it builds my consultations, it builds my contracting business. And then it also just kind of helps me as a mom, like to get some like brand deals and get to share things that work for me and my kids and my family. So I think it's great. You don't find joy in social media to begin with. I think it can be a tough world to get into.
Mhm.
But I mean, forever I have been on social media, like on my personal Instagram account, like giving advice and talking to people and talking about speech. And so for a while, like for years, people would say, like, you should do this, like, you should make this public. And so now that I have, I'm like, well, I love to get to give advice, give recommendations on books, give recommendations on what works for my family. So being able to monetize that has been just kind of an added benefit as well.
And so that is something that I found in my practice. Posting about my services on social media helps reach the people who need my help. So for you, it would be
Yeah.
parents or SLPs. For me, it would be SLPs switching to virtual. So that has been
And
fun.
yeah, I will say you could edit this part out if you don't want to share this part, but I think too, it's been really cool to see, you and I both have talked about how we have ADHD. And so we kind of want that like immediate, we jumped, we were so excited and we had this big plan and we believed in it. And so it was kind of tough at the beginning to not see that immediate like jump in the business, but being able to watch it for you and seeing your consistency and the tips that you provide over and over, and like your use of Facebook and Facebook groups, and watching your course and your practice build has just been so cool to see, because like being there from the beginning and like hearing your idea when it was just an idea and seeing it now blossom into the way that you're transforming teletherapy has just been really cool to see. So you should be proud of yourself.
I appreciate that. It was about this time last year. I think I texted you probably. I had a great idea. I've had it
Mhm.
since 10 a.m. this morning.
Yes.
I'm going to rebrand with a different name and everything. And I think I just that whole day. And
I'm
then
so glad you did it.
samesies. I think for me, I am someone who wants immediate results. And I
Hmm.
know that I'm not a patient person. So for me, this entire business, social media wise, business wise, has been a lesson in patience and kind of an exercise in just taking baby steps. So while that's been kind of painful for me on a personal note, it is really nice to look back like a year from where I was to where I am now. I'm sure you can probably relate to that on some aspect too.
Yeah, well, I think about, I mean, you and I have both been doing some level of teletherapy since 2020. And so I think it can also be a great lesson for those who are just getting started in teletherapy and maybe like just starting your course to, it feels so daunting. I think teletherapy can feel so foreign if you haven't done it before. But through things like taking your course, I think those are like the good baby steps of like just kind of understanding more about it and seeing what works, what doesn't work. Like, you know, some platforms or some things that work for some people in teletherapy might not work for everybody. And so I think it's really great to take those like those little leaps and like just keep trying out different things and then yeah, see where you are in a year from now. And I feel like when it comes to teletherapy, so much can change in that year. And like I bet people will see like just doing it even like if you start now, if you start doing teletherapy like October 1st and then seeing where you're at October 1st of next year and how much more confident you can be in your teletherapy skills, I think is really cool to see. But again, you have to have that like patience and wait for that. And that is really tough to do, especially for neurospicy people.
So we have been working in some capacity, like you said, virtually since 2020. One of the things I wanted to talk about with you today was how we keep connected with people. And I would
Mhm.
say for us, I don't want to speak for you, but it has not been difficult, I think, with
Yeah.
our personalities to keep in touch with people and stay connected while we work from home. I know
Mhm.
both of us, we have kind of a hybrid life.
Mhm.
I do go in person to one district down here. Most of my job is virtual though. And I know that you have some book events, you do some
Mhm.
collaborations locally. Talk to me about what you do to stay connected with your colleagues, your friends when you mostly work from home.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I've noticed when I talk to people who are fully in person and hear about virtual, even outside of our field. I see so many people very against remote work. People will say that to my husband, who has been working remotely since COVID and a little bit before that. He will do some like travel, but most of the time he's at home. And people will say, "Isn't that so lonely? Like you're just sitting by yourself in an office." And I think what is I was talking to my husband about this because I told him about the podcast and finding your people, like even though you are not standing at the water cooler, so to speak, you can find your people that are your coworkers. For us in this field, when you're just getting started, maybe in a new district where everybody else is in person, it can feel a little bit intimidating to find somebody. So, what I think has worked really well for you and I is we don't work together. We're not at the same district. We do very different things, but we're like each other's coworkers because we check in throughout the day. We'll FaceTime, like maybe if we're just like having lunch, we'll hop on and just kind of like get that sense of normalcy that you feel in the office. And then you can also turn it off. And that's what I love about like virtual work. I can turn my phone on do not disturb and nobody's going to come in my office and interrupt my workflow, which is great. But when I want it, I find my own coworkers and I like you and I find like other people who are in similar situations. So that's been the biggest thing is finding my coworkers even if they are not people that I work directly with, in the place that has hired me. They're still my coworker. You're still my coworker, my colleague. I think the other thing that's been really helpful is I guess it goes along with that, but those like different like Facebook groups that I'm in have been so helpful to kind of find camaraderie. Different groups like your group with your course has been really helpful and just kind of having a community of people where you can ask questions that maybe you don't feel comfortable asking somebody that is at your contract district. Asking questions for people that are doing this day in and day out is so nice to feel like a sense of community. And then I was thinking through kind of what has been helpful for me. And another thing is definitely like taking social breaks for me because I use social media. I find it really like a great outlet for me to get on social media and interact with people in that way. So instead of just being at my computer writing reports all day, like I'll take meaningful breaks to connect with people online through social media and just scheduling that time in the day, like that social time throughout the day is really helpful.
I like taking walks, and usually if I call you, I'm on a walk. Or
Yes, I love it.
I know you're not a Marco Polo fan, but I have Marco Polo and I have some
Everybody
other.
keeps telling me to get it.
Some other SLPs who are not in the same field of speech as me.
Mhm.
And we will communicate about business things. And that's really nice to have accountability. So to have colleagues that aren't at my district, who aren't servicing the same clients as me, who are also running a business to kind of say, hey, this is my goal for today to do XYZ has been very helpful for my brain. And like you said, you can turn it off and you can kind of hunker
Mhm.
in your office if you need to. For me, going from an office with other people around to going to my home office where it's just me, I feel like I've accomplished so much because I don't have the distractions. So that mental load of
Mhm.
trying to refocus myself has been removed, which has been really helpful. But keeping in touch, I know FaceTiming and Marco Polo has been, those have been the two biggest things, I think, for me.
Yeah, I think I was just realizing too, at the job I had before I went remote, I was kind of by myself most of the time too. I was in an office, like I saw the kids and I got to interact with the kids throughout the day, but
Mhm.
I was the only one in our office, at our clinic office. And so I've kind of been used to this. I remember my very first job when I was in a school district, I was a district hire. I had an office with like my diagnostician or like school psychologist and my SLPA. And I loved it. It was so amazing. They're some of my closest friends to this day. But we got so distracted. I mean, we were just constantly talking and yapping, which I, we all kind of were guilty of. And so being able to politely and like be able to like get that work done and turn off like turn on do not disturb so that I can get that work done and then like you said yeah like turn it on when it works. I was realizing like it's been a long time since I've been in a traditional office with lots of people every day.
Mhm.
I don't know, I like it. It's nice to be able to have a little more control in my productivity.
I'd be curious if there are other people who have ADHD who've experienced the same thing.
I think I've seen a reel or a TikTok at some point where people have said that they thrive better in these environments. And I think it can be different. I think for some people it could be really hard to find the motivation to get to hunker down and work. But, you know, if that's the case, I think there are different like accommodations you can put in place. Like maybe you really need like music or like
Right.
background noise to get you going. And I think too, within once you get comfortable at your district, I've also started to just try to force myself to be more involved. Like I'll tell them like I hear you guys are doing like a little like potluck. Can you just pop me on and I'll be in the background, like I'll eat some and they joke, they're like, okay, well why don't you go grab like whatever you're gonna bring for the potluck and just kind of it's a little uncomfortable at first, but the more that you show your kind of willingness to connect in unique ways, the district,
Mhm.
I just find that I don't know, then you get more involved in different things and you feel like you're not missing from any important conversations. And they see that initiative and they appreciate that. So that's been really good. It's just you have to kind of take a deep breath and get past the like, oh, this is kind of awkward, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth it, I think.
I attended a baby shower last spring and they just propped me up in a corner.
Yeah,
And every
I
now and
love
again, someone would walk by and like bend over and say hi. And I'd be like, hey,
it.
it was pretty funny. But that is one thing I really like this year. Last year, I was filling in for a family leave situation at one of the districts. This year, I'm back at the same district and I have my own little caseload that I'm managing. And it's really nice. I'm invited to all the meetings and I can't make all the meetings. However, it's going to be easier for me now because I was there last year and I was on the screen with them for me to just pop on and just put me in a corner. Hopefully, I'm not on the smart board. I've been broadcast on the smart board before, and that is horrific.
When especially because then you can see it in the background, like your face is so large. I'm like,
My
oh
face is the
no.
size of the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever been at a district? I just learned about this. My district only has one because I think they're pretty expensive, but they're called owl cameras.
No.
And they look like I think they make them look like an owl on purpose, but they basically you can see everyone. It's like a panoramic shot. And so you can see everybody in the room and whoever starts talking, then the camera will zoom in on them. So I never miss anybody when I'm at an IEP meeting at this school. Like whoever talks, I can see who it is that's talking, and I can like see the whole room, so I can see if somebody like reacts weirdly to it, and then I'm there too, so they can all see me. And it is so cool. Technology is so cool. I wish that every district and every school could have it because whenever I'm at that specific school, I'm like, oh, thank goodness they're gonna hear me, they're gonna see me, I'm gonna feel like we're all apart, and I'm sitting right there at the table. So I wish.
I'm going to look into that. Is that, I mean, I'm wondering if it's like is it a small little thing that you can just plug into a computer? Is
Yes,
it
it looks
portable?
literally, yeah, yeah. It looks like an actual owl. They put a little, the speaker has like little eyes on it to look like an owl. And it's through Owl Labs is the name of the company.
I'm
Not
gonna look it up.
sponsored. Yeah, it looks very cool. And it's like, yeah, so it's 360 and it's just, it's 4 conference rooms. But yeah, it would be great for all IEP teams to have.
Ooh, that would be great for like my district to get one of those.
And when I talked to my director, because I love it, and I was like, oh, can you get those for all the campuses? And she showed me the price, and I said, okay, well, maybe one day we'll get some more funding for that.
I was just gonna say I went to the website and it offered $25 off, which made me think this probably has a price tag on it.
Yes, I think it's somewhere. Let's see, it's around $1,000.
I guess it's not terrible if you have funding for something like that.
And if you smart boards, I think are around that price, right?
I had no idea, but I'm
So,
sure. I'm
yes,
sure.
yes, I'm not in the purchasing department for districts, but if I was, I have ideas. Sorry, I'm spidering.
I saw you on social media this morning. You were at your big sibling event. Did I get
Yeah.
that right?
Yes, it was like I think, yeah, they call it like a big sibling workshop. It was so cool. So Jamie from Balance and Bloom, St. Louis, so she's a friend of mine. She's a play therapist, and she and I went to Hotspot Social, which is like a play place in St. Louis City. So it's in Clayton area. If you guys are local, so we went there, and they had parents and kiddos, so the kids could play throughout while while Jamie, the play therapist, presented and gave tips and advice for second time parents and how to kind of adjust to the sibling transition. And I offered, she's the expert, she's the play therapist, but I offered kind of my own anecdotal information from when I had my second son. And then I read my book to the kids, and they did so well. I mean, every reading that I get to do is so much fun, but the kids specifically today, like we had some really young ones, and they were sitting and focusing and really into the book. And then we did like a little craft where they got to make a present for the baby. And it was just so great. The parents, the moms that came were so great. They just, you could kind of see a little, I don't know, you're a mom of two, like that, like a little that fear behind their eyes of like, what's it going to
Yeah.
be like when they have my second child? They just, it was so great. It was such a collaborative conversation. People kind of offered what worked, what they've heard. And like, Kristen from Tot Spot, Jamie from Balance of Bloom, we all have 2 kids. So we kind of all offered our own little perspectives. So that was really interesting. It was a really cool thing to get to be a part of.
So this leads me into your book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book, A Tale of Empathy, is a really sweet story about our family dogs. So it was inspired by the dogs themselves and when they first met, and they did not get along because my older dog Rocky is very calm, chill, and then we brought home Truman, who's just a wild dog who just loves to play. And they didn't get along at first, and that really kind of tied into when I had my second son and just the different personality between my oldest and my youngest, and just the struggles that a lot of big siblings have. So it kind of walks through how to see the world through someone else's eyes, kind of through the lens of the dog. So it's a really great book for big siblings, but it's also a great book for any child who meets anybody new. So maybe a new kid in class, a new neighbor, families that maybe are adopting, anything like that. This like learning to understand somebody who is different from them in any way, and how you can find common ground and find things that you have in common, or kind of learn to understand the world through someone else's eyes and become their friend. So I lost my train of thought. But so yeah, so it's a really great book. I think for all kids, it's ages 3 to 8 is the recommendations. It's not just for big siblings, it's for really any kiddos going through any big, or any kiddo meeting somebody new.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yeah. Go ahead.
curious. Is this the only book in your series, or do you have anything else coming down the pipeline?
I do have, so the in my mind the book is a 5-part series. And right now I'm in the works of making the next book, A Tale of Resilience. Rocky bounces back. And it was inspired by a true story kind of about my dogs, and how Truman, being the wild, lovable, silly one, he loves to play fetch and he loves to jump around and run around. Rocky, since he's pretty calm, he's not a big fetch guy, but he kind of learned how to do that, but he's not good at it at first. He's not great at playing fetch, and he learns how to grow and kind of get that growth mindset and learn to keep trying even when things are hard. And that was really inspired by my older son, who is 4.5 now, and he, like most kiddos in preschool, is struggling with that growth mindset of learning new things and not being perfect at it right away. It's a question I get a lot from parents, like, how do I teach my child to be resilient? How do I teach them to be bad at something and just keep trying?
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the book, Bucky kind of has this mantra of like, I can do hard things. And it kind of helps him to build up that stamina and keep trying even when things are difficult. So that is in the works right now. I'm really hoping to have that out and have it on your bookshelves Christmas morning. It can be a great Christmas gift. So I'm hoping to have that ready to order before Black Friday so you guys can order that. So that'll be coming soon. So make sure you follow me and Little Moose Speech Therapy, and I'll share updates that way.
Yay! Oh, that's exciting. I know my
Thank you.
son loves art, and one of his biggest things is if he made a mistake while he was drawing, he would crumple up the paper and get angry and give
Mm-hmm.
up. And so we kept saying, like, you can turn your mistake into a design, turn it into a design. It's okay. Just
Mm-hmm.
go over it or turn it into a design.
Mm-hmm.
And we are still working on that, but trying to be resilient with, what's in your head and what's populating can be really difficult. And
Yes.
yeah, I think
I
that goes
think
for everyone.
yes. Well, and I what I've been finding, and in talking with play therapists and behavioral specialists, like, what can be really helpful is kind of can be applied to everything in parenting, but modeling that behavior. So like if you are making a recipe and you spill too much milk in there, like working on how you respond to those situations. Sometimes I'll notice that, like, sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I spilled this, or I'll get down on myself, but trying to flip that narrative and model, like, oops, I made a mistake, I'm just going to try again, or oops, I made a mistake, here's how I can fix it, can be a really helpful way. It's just so tough because, especially if you grew up not being able to make mistakes or feeling like you were punished when you made mistakes,
Mhm.
it can be really hard as an adult to break that cycle, but it's really helpful and beneficial to kind of just model, it's okay to make mistakes. I can do hard things even when I'm scared of it, which I think ties back to like when we started our businesses. Like, was everything perfect? Was every post we did perfect? Was like the first draft of your course perfect? Like, of course not, but we just kept trying and we didn't give up, and thank goodness we didn't give up, because a year later, here we
We just had to put something out there so that we knew what to refine going forward.
mm-hmm.
I feel like at least for me, my whole last year was getting a foundation, and then this whole year is more refinement
Mm-hmm.
and
Seeing what
pivoting
people
as
like,
needed.
and yeah, I know we'll have to do this again in a year and see
And see
how
where we
much
are
things have changed
then.
then.
Yes. Okay, what else? What have we not talked about yet? Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
what's coming down the line for you?
Coming down the line, I have a rebrand of my website. Hopefully, it will be more accessible to people looking for information for consultations or training or school contracting. Those are my three things. I have some refinement coming with the podcast and some refinement coming with social media. So I think
Exciting.
everything should launch in a week or two.
Wow, that's exciting.
We'll see. It's been a long time coming. That's pretty
Well, it's
much
so
it.
good to get to
Honestly,
catch up.
it's not. I'm not that exciting.
No, I think it's exciting.
Man, I'm trying to think what else.
I feel
I
like,
don't really
yeah,
have anything else. I don't know.
this was good though. I feel like I mean, I just like getting to catch up. Like we said, this is like having our own little check-in, like our own little
Truly.
coworker meet. Yes.
I will
I
say,
just like to, yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm excited about this year is I was really nervous because I am only working 2.5 days a week.
Hmm.
So I work 2 days and then the following week I'll work 3 days. So I alternate Wednesdays, but I work Tuesday and Thursday. And I've worked since I was 14 and a half. And I've worked full time as long as I could. And this is the first year that I'm going part-time direct client facing, which is very
Hmm.
nerve-wracking for me. But I made that decision so that I could do on-demand evaluations
Hmm.
for a handful of districts that I have relationships with. And I was so nervous that this was not going to work. And 3 weeks into the school year, I have 4 on-demand evaluations, which is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But also, my daughter qualified for speech therapy and she needs to go 2 days a week.
So you need that
So
time.
I have time in my schedule to take her Monday and Friday morning to her therapies, which I wouldn't have normally had if I had stayed at my last job or if I had stayed at the
Mhm.
job before that or if I had stayed 5 days a week, direct client facing. So
Yeah.
this has been a kind of a beautiful mess of my year of refinement, which I'm
Mhm.
pretty excited about to watch it kind of come together now.
It is, it's so nice. I think getting to work virtually, I think people talk about this, but not enough of the flexibility that it can provide because you can shift some things around. And so I can take the morning off. And if I was going to be spending that morning writing reports, I can write that report at night or on the weekend. I don't have to either. You know, I am part time, so that I can fit that time in if I need to, if I want to earn those extra hours. You just have
Mhm.
a lot of flexibility so that you can maintain that work-life balance. Like I can go to my kids' Halloween parade. I can make a chiropractor appointment in the middle of the day instead of trying to squeeze it in after work before the kids get home. So you have to schedule it 6 months in advance kind of thing. Like that just leaves more room for self-care and a work-life balance that I have not had in many years. That it's well earned. I've been grinding. I've been watching, yeah, since 20, I suppose it 2019.
Maybe.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, you've been grinding too.
Yes, I am ready to for things to slow down just ever so slightly. But
What
I
would your
can't.
ideal
I'm just
schedule look like?
so the ideal schedule was supposed to happen this year. And then
I know the beginning of
I
your year kind of imploded a little bit.
it did. So I took on like an entire extra full-time caseload, which I love to say yes because I love, with contracting, I wanted to take on some extra hours and kind of add a little cushion so I could pay to cut down our trees in our backyard that are going to be so expensive to cut down. Or kind of
Yep.
my husband and I's running joke is like every time we take on extra work, it's like, yeah, it's to pay for those trees. But the ideal work schedule, and starting next week, I'll be back to it, is going to be doing like 3 days with my contract district supervising and doing some consultations with the school district. And then one day of kind of working on social media and business things, and then some self care, which self care honestly is kind of cleaning the house, but that is for me cathartic, I guess. So getting to have all day Monday to really not have anything scheduled is going to be so nice. And then one day a week, I'm home with my boys still. So that's going to be the ideal schedule. I got to get there once I can wrap up at this extra school I took on. Tomorrow is my last day there. It's the last day of
Yep.
the month, and I'm setting my boundaries. I'm getting over these years, I have gotten better at setting boundaries. Oh.
It's really hard, especially sometimes when you see the dollar sign and you're like, this
Mhm.
would do so much for my family. And I think I did that a lot last year because I was trying to
Mhm.
prove to everyone that I'm not going to bamboozle my family's finances.
Yes.
And I think I went a little too hard. And so this year I'm like trying to find that good balance.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't be pulled in every direction endlessly. You have to kind of and I don't know. I think too when you get started though in the business, you have to see what works. And so that's why I like said yes a lot to everything.
Mhm.
And I see what works, what doesn't work, what brings me joy, what doesn't, what's like maybe something that doesn't bring me joy, but is a necessary thing to do.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I tried everything last year, I think,
Yeah.
to see what I liked. And really, when I started my LLC, I thought I knew what I wanted and I had a completely different name. And then when I really got serious about things, you figure out what you want to do and what you want to spend your life doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, just it's my year of refinement.
I love it. That's a good word. You can see it on your vision board.
Reconnect. Brittany, I'm so glad that you remembered we had a podcast today.
Thank you for reminding me.
I'm also glad that I remembered. And this is fun. I love catching up with you. For anyone
Yes.
who wants to follow Brittany's journey and what she's up to, you can find her on Instagram at Little Moose Speech Therapy. Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it.
Great. Good. I know you as Brittany or Little Moose. And so
Mhm.
when I go to look for you, I type in Little Moose, but
Yes. Yes.
the full name is Little Moose Speech Therapy. I'll link everyone that we mentioned today. So
Yeah.
your tot spot, the
Thank you.
play
Yeah, I love
therapist,
that.
your book.
Yeah.
I'll link everything in the show notes here. Thank you so much for being here, Brittany.
Thank you for having me. I love getting to just catch up and talk to my coworker, my favorite coworker.